everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, October 30th, 2022. It's really Halloween this year in Genoa City. It started early, even. I seem to remember last year we were complaining about there being no Halloween on the show. And so Y&R said, oh yeah, well, this year we're going to decorate Crimson Lights with not one, but 2 wreaths that say spooky. And of course, lots of other Halloween kitsch all around Crimson Lights. But we got one spooky wreath on the front door, one spooky wreath on the back patio. I mean, what more could you ask for? How do you like them candy apples? Do you guys like candy apples? And how about candy corn? That's our poll question for this week at yrchat. No, I'm just kidding. Maybe you're a toothbrush family. I don't know. Oh, hey, it was all cool with me. I love getting a sense of Halloween. I thought that Connor made a super cool zombie. I thought the makeup looked great. I liked the puffy paint that was used on his skeleton costume. It kind of looked gooey and bony, and I thought it was really neat. And I think that the zombie is probably the most appropriate Halloween costume for Genoa City, considering that nearly everyone comes back from the dead at least once. I was glad Connor picked a zombie. Everyone comes back to from the dead, and someday you will too, Connor. Be patient. Someday you will too. Well, I guess enough with the pleasantries. We should talk about Chelsea's suicidal thoughts. That ought to perk us right up. That is a happy note to start out on, but I mean, it's the story of the week. I hardly know what even to say except the obvious. Melissa Claire Egan is incredible. This was an incredible, realistic portrayal of depression and the path that leads up to suicidal thoughts. She was great. The writing was great. The direction was great. Even the editing. I mean, they all did an amazing job. I can't imagine how much time it must have taken to go back through all of these episodes to find the audio clips, like all those audio clips that were put together of people saying things to Chelsea over the past few months. Things that Victoria said, Billy said, Connor said, Adam said, Chloe said, all of these little snippets echoing in her head, which eventually push her right up to that rooftop in tears and anxiousness and helplessness and hopelessness, until she finally, looking for an answer, looks down. Billy saw her leave the club, so I have no doubt that he is going to get up there and save her life. But you can only save someone's life so many times. That's the problem. Someone who is suicidal is likely to feel that way again. And Chelsea did agree to get help. She talked with Adam just before going up to the rooftop, and she did agree to get help. But that's going to have to be something that she'll need to manage forever. It's got to be an ongoing process. It's not a quick fix. And I think Y&R is going to have to, since they've been so bold to show us this journey of Chelsea's, I think they're also going to have to be so bold as to show us the recovery process. And I really hope they do that, because Y&R in the past has not always done the best job of following through with medical related storylines. So they do sometimes do a good job at presenting it, but they don't always do the best job of really sticking with it and showing us the aftermath. The part that resonates most with me is the fact that everything up until the rooftop moment was so relatable to everyone, absolutely everyone. All of the things that Chelsea was feeling are things that everybody feels. Yet in the suicidal mind, you probably think that you're the only one who doesn't have it together. That's the fallacy, that you're the one that doesn't have it together, and everybody else gets it right every time. And so you become isolated and desperate. And then the fact that it started out so relatable and then escalated to suicidal thoughts shows that this is something that could happen to anyone. I mean, let's look at Chelsea's depression and what it actually looked like from an outside scope. She's in her darkened room. She can't get out of her PJs. She's ignoring the phone, probably shutting out the people that care about her. She's crying. She's looking in the mirror and hating what she sees. I mean, it's all so familiar, isn't it? I mean, it could have been a depression medication ad, the whole thing. I mean, it really is something that we've probably all felt at one time or another. It could happen to anyone. It's just a series of thought patterns and choices, and it's happened to Chelsea. It was hard to watch. It was really, really sad to watch. It was a real, bummer. But Y&R made sure to show us some comparison points. Let's compare Adam's ex, Chelsea, in her darkened room, in her purple PJs, ignoring the world. Let's compare that with Adam's other ex, Sally Spectra, and boy, isn't she cool with her anagrams. Oh! Honestly, I don't know why. It's just me, and it's wrong to feel this way, but it kind of ticks me off that Sally gets to be so cool in comparison to Chelsea this week. I know Sally was just being there for Connor, and it's good that he had someone to be there with, someone to talk to. I know all of that logically, but now I can't help putting it in light of Chelsea's situation. And, it's hard being a mom. It's hard enough being a human, let alone being a mom. I mean, and when you are a mom, you're balancing the needs of your child with the needs of your own. And most of your time and energy is devoted to your child in one way or another. And I think Chelsea was searching desperately for some place to put some positive energy. She tried letting it be Johnny. That was a wrong move. And I'm thinking back to when she said a couple of weeks ago, it just feels like I can't do anything right. Every single choice I make, it feels like I make the wrong one. But I mean, in terms of Connor, Chelsea's probably been there for 10 other Halloweens. She missed this Halloween, but she's been there for all the other ones. And then Sally Spectra gets to swoop in her leopard print and save the day. Save the day. I'm projecting. But all I'm saying is, I need Sally to be friends with Adam, not Connor. Thank you. I want Chelsea to get it together and be there for Connor. Or maybe, I don't know. Maybe, I'm sure Sally had good intentions. She didn't do anything wrong. Maybe Sally should talk to Johnny, too. Get him in a better mood. I actually was glad that Connor and Johnny were able to turn something that the adults made awkward into something that was friendly and positive. Connor invited Johnny to go to a party with him. I was half expecting, though, that Johnny would end up talking Connor into ditching the party to go do something naughty, like TP the ranch or something. I don't know. Oh, well. You know what's even more surprising than Sally being let go as the CEO of Newman Media? What's even more surprising than that is the fact that she barely reacted to it. She just gave Nick kind of a sweet smile and a hand holding and did some self-pep talking, but I was expecting her to be mad. I was expecting her to crash into Victoria's office or something. Do something. Do something. But no, it's just water under the bridge. We're just going to quietly let that one go. And I'm sure it's because she's going to bounce right back. She's a fighter. And I just also have a feeling that Sally and Chloe and eventually Chelsea will all end up working at Marchetti very, very soon. I think it was signaled by the fact that Phyllis was being unusually nice to Chelsea this week. And just a side note, a lot of people have been nice to Chelsea. A lot of people have expressed concern for Chelsea. She has a lot of support. But Phyllis, I thought it was odd that Phyllis took the time to be unusually nice to Chelsea, juxtaposed with Phyllis being extra rotten to Sally. So I feel like that is a recipe for a real fun working environment at Marchetti. I mean, come on. Sally and Chelsea and Chloe are all out of work, and they're all fashion designers, and none of them work at the only fashion house in town, the Glam Club. Just where you want to go when you're feeling anxious and depressed. You know, modern art always cheers me up. Speaking of art, this week Noah was remembering an argument that he had with Audra, where it basically sounds like Audra is jealous of another woman who happened to be a gallery owner. Audra was implying that Noah only got his art featured at the gallery because the owner wanted to sleep with him. To me, it sounds like Audra was very, very insecure in their relationship all along, which explains why she is very, very insecure that Noah has moved on with Allie. I think she's afraid that it just totally negates all of the feelings that they did have for each other. But then again, we really only have Noah's point of view on that. Audra hasn't talked very much. She did talk to Lily a little bit this week, which I loved when she said, "Trust me, trust no one." That's what Audra said to Lily, and it was very ominous. It was almost like Audra was trying to give Lily a clue not to trust her. I liked that a lot, but she covered it up really quickly by saying that she was referring to a past relationship. Audra said that, you know, she's just hurt that her man moved on without dealing with the unresolved feelings that they had. But I don't know. It sounds like you're the one with the unresolved feelings, Audra. Noah seems pretty resolved. It's over. What else is there to say? What else is there to resolve? But now Audra has turned her lackluster art career she's turned that over to become a bright and shining corporate spy, which is an interesting career trajectory. Tucker discussed a hostile takeover of Chancellor Winters with Audra this past week. Okay, well, if the IPO strategy is not going to work, then maybe we just need to do a hostile takeover. So Tucker's talking about a hostile takeover in one breath, and then in the next breath, he's accepting an invitation from Devon to meet Dominic. Like nothing happened. Like he's got nothing else planned. I mean, I can definitely smell, and everything I did for my family coming from Tucker soon. And Audra is going to have no friends in this town when Tucker's plan either succeeds or is destroyed. And I think Audra realizes this, and I think she was trying to lay some groundwork this week, which is why she was trying to butter up Nate. She told Nate that she doesn't dislike him or see him as the enemy. No. In fact, she's kind of impressed with the boldness of his takeover plan. She can kind of relate to that, is what she was thinking. But she was also kind of stroking his ego, and I thought, well, has Audra taken over Imani's role as the one who's going to be the stroker of Nate's ego? I really can't believe that Imani laid all of this groundwork with Nate just to let someone else swoop in and reap the benefits. I mean, Imani could be big time reaping the benefits with Nate right now. But Devon told us on Friday that there's been no change in Naya's condition and that the distance is starting to create an estrangement between he and Amanda. And so we know that Michelle Morgan is leaving the show. I think she is going to still have some final scenes that we'll see. But I'm assuming that Imani is just gone. I don't think Imani is going to return. Maybe she will, maybe she won't. I don't know. But it kind of seems to me like Audra is now filling the Imani role. Nate seems way more suspicious of Audra, though, than he ever was of Imani, and he had way more reason to be suspicious of Imani. But it makes me wonder, will Nate maybe be the one to expose Audra and therefore Tucker? And maybe will Nate become the one to save the day at Chancellor Winters? Will Nate be the one to save the family company and redeem himself with the family? Maybe even get himself back on the Thanksgiving invite list this year? I have really been riveted by the scenes between Devon and Nate over the past 2 weeks. They are just burning up my screen. It almost looked like they were going to bury the hatchet there for a minute. Billy paid a visit to Nate to encourage him to just give a simple apology to Devon, which, by the way, Billy visiting Nate really ticked Lily off. Everything Billy is doing right now is really ticking Lily off. I was actually super proud of Billy because when he showed up at Nate's door, I was expecting that he had traveled all the way over there just to wag his finger in Nate's face. But no, Billy was actually there trying to keep Lily's family peace. But she didn't want that. She, on Friday, told Devon that Billy is leaving the company, and she went out of her way to defend Billy and to defend their relationship, but she is clearly bitter about the fact that Billy is kind of leaving her in the lurch at Chancellor Winters, and I don't blame her for being hurt. Billy promised to be her partner. He made a really bold a point of it, too. He quit his podcast and he said, "No, baby, I am here for you." And then couple weeks down the road, he's off to the next shiny thing, and she's in the dust. So I don't blame her for being hurt, but I also don't think that it's cool how passive-aggressive she's being toward him. She needs to just talk about it, because she told him to let it go, and if that's how she really feels, she needs to mean it and accept it. Not everything is going to be her way. And maybe just talking it out and, like, allowing herself to say, hey, this ticks me off, man. That might help at least pull a pin out of some of the pressure in their relationship. But anyway, I thought Billy's advice to Nate was good, and Nate took it. He called Devon. Devon came over. Nate apologized to Devon, and Devon in turn acknowledged that maybe Nate did have a point about Devon working with Neil. And Devon said, I loved my dad. I looked up to my dad. I'm always going to be missing my dad. And maybe you're right. Maybe some of that does play into how he works with others. I thought that was very big of both of them. I liked the scene. I liked that they were both willing to be honest, but then it all fell apart when Devon said, all right, well, if you're really sorry, then I want you to tell me who the CEO was that you were working with so that I can mitigate any threat to the family company now. And Nate said, no dice. No, I'm not going to tell you that. Sorry, but no. Judging from the previews, Devon's probably going to figure it out on his own next week. But I don't blame Devon for asking Nate that question. And I don't blame Nate for not answering it, not giving the answer. I really wouldn't either. If I was Nate, I wouldn't have told Devon who the CEO was either. Nate's got nothing left. Victoria is his only ally. He knew that he was going to need a job eventually, and why would he want to backstab the only potential source that he had? Victoria had already alluded to the fact that she would like to bring him on at Newman Enterprises. Why would he then bust out the only ally he had left? It would make no sense. And then at the midweek point, Victoria actually did offer Nate a job, and in the previews it looks like he's going to accept it. I love the way Victoria phrased the job offer too. She said, how would you feel about becoming the CEO of Newman Media? I can't, when is that going to happen to me? When is somebody going to come up and just say, hey, Allie, how would you feel about becoming the CEO of a massive media company? And I would say, wow, me? Okay, well, can we play soap operas, 60s sitcoms, and game shows on every channel? Then okay. The Glam Club, where relationships go to die. First, Abby and Chance, then Lily and Billy. If you get an invite to go out to the Glam Club, your relationship's over. Abby and Chance had a really cringe-worthy date this week. He was trying to surprise her with an impromptu night out, but she, already in her formal wear, was at society, covered in soot, wearing an apron, so busy, just putting out fires left and right. She had soot all over her face, but the outfit was flawless. It was good enough to turn around and then go clubbing in. She didn't even have to change. She just pulled off the apron and wiped off her face a little bit with a paper towel and went back out. Well, Abby's first instinct was to not go because things had been so hectic in her workday and she was just so busy. But then she saw Chance standing there in his suit, and he was holding a bouquet of flowers. And I thought she made the right decision to seize the moment, to not reschedule the romance, to just go ahead and be with her husband. And that's not a small decision. Come on, a lot of us probably would have said, I just can't go. I've got too much to do. It's easy to just want to continue on your path. But Abby said, no, carpe diem. I'm going to be with my husband. I'm going to go out. But then when they got to the club, Abby just seemed focused on everything but her husband. She was like, oh, there's Noah. How's he? Is there something wrong? Something seems wrong with him. Is something going on with Allie? Oh, is that Nate over there? He's brooding. Here comes Devon. Chance, can you go break up that fight between Devon and Nate? Ugh, oh, and there's Tucker. It's all his fault that all this is happening. So it was like her mouth couldn't stop running, and she just didn't know what to do with herself. It almost seemed like maybe she wasn't entirely comfortable being alone with Chance, or I don't know, maybe she was just so wound up from her day that she couldn't relax. But either way, it was awkward. Chance was just sitting there like wanting to rein her in. Everything she said, he just kept trying to pull her back. He was offering her, just have a drink and try to relax. Come here, just have a drink and kiss me. So he was trying, Chance was trying. They've both been trying. Chance eventually got called away to a crime scene, and he actually left Abby there with Devon. And Devon opened up to Abby about the whole Nate situation, and also she listened to him talk about Neil, and she was there to give him some reassurance and some advice. And on some level, I kind of think that's what Abby needed. I think Abby needs to be heard, to be seen, and to feel like she has made an impact, to feel like she has made something better. That's relatable. And oh boy, she was really going in deep on some back rubbings for Devon. I mean, by the time Chance got back, she was leaned over onto Devon, like going to town on his back, holding onto his arm, looking deep into his eyes. Chance had gone away to go view a crime scene, and by the time he got back, he was viewing a whole nother kind of scene. He found the politest way possible to say to Devon, okay, man, I'd like my wife back now, please. And then everything seemed okay for a minute. They kind of moved on. But then, the next day, on Halloween night, Abby was kind of hoping that she and Chance could maybe dress Dominic up and then do a couple's costume and do something a little fun and family. But Chance got called away to work again, so she ended up alone at society in her diamond tiara, looking beautiful, by the way. But actually, she was not alone, because guess who showed up again? Devon. And this time he was talking about what was going on with Amanda, the fact that they're growing farther and farther apart. And Abby also admitted at that time that she feels kind of jealous of Chance's job sometimes, and that it makes her feel like she's a bad person because she knows how important his job is. And not just to him, but, to the community. She understands that. But she doesn't like it. I mean, I kind of think maybe we were all kind of speculating that Chance would cheat on Abby with Chelsea or something. And it's like, it's odd. It's almost like Abby's feeling like Chance is cheating on her with his job. Because next week in the previews, found him at the coffee house. He had said he was going to be on a stakeout, but apparently he had finished up early and decided to go to the coffee house instead of coming home, and she's not happy about that, and she feels sort of betrayed. And it's almost like she was walking in on him with another woman, but it's not. It's just she's walking in on him being involved in his job. And I kind of dig in this story for exactly that reason, because it feels almost like just sort of a real, natural unraveling of a relationship, which is usually how relationships end. It's not usually some big event. I mean, of course, sometimes, yeah, but it's, like soap operas, there's a big event and then the couple breaks up. But in reality, it's a lot of times just a bunch of little events that pile up until you find that you just can't connect with the other person anymore. But what do you think Abby and Chance should do about it? I mean, do you want to see them keep working on it and succeed in turning the marriage around, or are you just over it and ready to see them call it quits? Let's put a poll on that at yrchat.com. Do you think Abby and Chance should work it out, or should they call it quits? I'm kind of strangely pulling for them to work it out. But, you know, I guess if they can't, at least Abby's got Dominic's other dad to slip seamlessly right into that role. Zippy the Fox in Costa Rica. I'm imagining Zippy in a lounge chair on the beach with a fruity cocktail beside him that's like 3 times his size. He sends a postcard back to the other stuffed animals at home. Do you guys think that the other stuffed animals are jealous of Zippy? Is there a whole secondary drama playing out right now in Harrison's toy box? Like, Zippy gets all of the attention, so Fluffy is secretly planning to have him killed and take his place as Harrison's favorite toy. I kind of love that. Oh, well, I'm actually really glad that we have continued to get to see Kyle and Summer on their Costa Rican honeymoon. I love them a lot, and I appreciate that Y&R followed through with the honeymoon. We were promised it, and we got it. And I don't even mind that we haven't left the room. Doesn't matter to me one bit. It's still a change of scenery. It's also nice to see, well, Kyle being happy before that happiness gets ripped out from under him probably next week. Silly me. I thought that Jack might actually keep Diane's secret. But no, he just flat out told Ashley. And she told him, I told you so, of course. Of course. She wasn't going to let that drop. But of course she feels sorry for him for getting duped. Poor Jack. Poor old sentimental fool Jack. He finally got some smoochins this year. And we saw him thinking about it. We saw him, I mean, you could even say fantasizing about it. So I think maybe he liked that kiss a little more than he let on. And now he's got to turn all of that passion off and worry about telling Kyle about his mom's indiscretion. The little legal indiscretion. Ashley made a beeline for Tucker to find out the rest of the story, his side of the story. Tucker doesn't know what Ashley knows, so she just says, all right, talk. But I'm sure that Tucker is going to find a way to tap dance around her questions the way he has tap danced around everyone and everyone's questions. Tucker is terrifying. Did you see the way that he grabbed Diane's coffee stir stick right out of her cup and then snapped it in half right in front of her face, threatening her? I have not seen that kind of violence since Victor snapped that pencil in Jack's face and yelled, I will crush you. Violence. The coffee stir stick. Violence. Well, Diane did totally bust both of them out to Jack. She didn't just bust herself. She totally busted Tucker, too. Ruined his plans. Although, I get the impression that Diane, although she told Jack the truth, did not tell him the whole truth. She seemed to imply when she was talking to Tucker that she told Jack just enough, but that she didn't tell Jack everything. Which is fun because that means there's more to discover. Possibly when this Jeremy Stark inevitably, I'm sure, gets out of prison and decides to pay a visit to her in Genoa City. I can hold a grudge like the best of them. Oh, yes, Lauren Fenmore, I'm sure that you can. I think we've seen that proven a time or two over the years. I can hold a grudge like the best of them. It was Sam, Tony, good old Marky, Deedles, Tanya, Henry, Brittany, Sheila, Wendy, Tommy, Sharita, and Diana who all guessed that one right. How about this? I like it. I am a class act who knows when to shut up and walk away. Basically, that's not true of anyone. But who said it? I am a class act who knows when to shut up and walk away. If you think you know, go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your congrats on next week's Y&R Chats. Now let's open up my bag of brilliant comments, starting with Daisy, who says, so Kyle and Summer are bringing Harrison to a rainforest? What a twist it would be if that is where Ashland Locke is. And he knows Kyle and Summer are there with his son. So Ashland forges a plan. He'll stop at nothing to get his child back from them. A spooky Halloween indeed. I love that idea, Daisy. That would be really good. That would honestly probably be more exciting than Kyle going home and finding out what Diane had done. Maybe Ashland could try to kidnap Harrison and Diane could find a way to thwart his plan. That would be good. Oh, yeah, I like that idea. Still holding out hope for Ashland Locke to be still alive. It's entirely possible. I don't think, I haven't heard anything about the actor coming back to the show, but I am certainly never believing that anyone is dead, ever. Sue W. says, I really enjoyed the scene when Harrison and Zippy the Fox interrupted Kyle and Summer. It was warm and lighthearted, with no angst or obvious plot agenda. The three of them snuggling up on the bed just made me smile. Oops, I meant four of them. Sorry, Zip. I love that Kyle and Summer wanted their honeymoon, or whatever they're calling it, to finish as a true family vacation with their best little guy, Harrison. Yeah, Zippy too. Pretty sweet. Yeah, I mean, and that's very, that's right. It's love when you love your family. And it's just nice to see that they want to be around their kid. I think a lot of people are dying to get away from their kids, and it can be a little both. Sometimes you can be dying to get away from them. Sometimes you want to be with them. It's a little of all of the above. But it's nice to see that Kyle and Summer want to be with their family, including, they want to be a family, not just a couple. I think that's sweet, too. Last week I asked you guys in a very excellent poll question if you have sympathy for Diane Jenkins. I love that the vote came down. 51% saying no, have no sympathy for Diane. 49% saying yes. It's the closest that a vote can, almost the closest that a vote can possibly get. I think that is, it's just, when a poll is that close, I feel like I've hit on a good storyline. That's a really good question. I like seeing that people are looking at it two totally different ways, and that there is something to chat about. That's sort of the point here. But 51% no sympathy, 49% yes sympathy. Victoria says, I do not have sympathy for Diane. She continually makes bad decisions after bad decisions. She has moments of genuine empathy and caring. However, those get lost on all of her lies and deceptions. Diane is still a work in progress. Change does not mean perfection. Maybe Diane wants to aim for being the best person she can. She is a welcome addition to Genoa City, and I look forward to the writers uncovering more of her imperfections. Yeah, that's, I like that. Change does not mean perfection, right? I mean, we all talk about it all. I'm not that person anymore, and of course not. No one's the same person they are from even day to day. But I mean, I think there is something about changing your behaviors is really more what it's about. And Diane seems that she is wanting to change her behaviors, but then again, she also, continues to lie and continues to find excuses for not telling whole truths. Maybe that's what it is. It's not that she's lying. She's just not telling the truth, you guys. Sharita says, I think she's just as devious as she's always been. She's known when to bring the crocodile tears to Jack, and if she were truly changed, she would have confessed before Tucker's return. Yeah, that's true. She could have mentioned that before she was forced. She kind of had her hand forced. Laura voted no sympathy for Diane. Those tears were because she regrets getting caught, and that's all. How many illegal activities was she involved in? 2 that we know of so far. You can't claim innocence after you realize your involvement in a crime and then continue to break the law. She lied to Jack when asked directly if there was some kind of Tucker involvement, and the lies will keep trickling out. She contrived her own death and stole someone's identity and therefore proved she can wend her way around illegal and unethical just fine. Yeah, and as Victoria said, it makes you want to look forward to continuing to see how she does so. It makes her an interesting character. Henry voted yes for sympathy for Diane, saying she really got herself into something that was just too overwhelming for her. She's admitted all to Jack, and my wish for her now is not to tell more lies. Moreover, I hope that Jack will aid in intercepting Phyllis and Ashley and Nikki's coup to get Diane out of town. Yeah, I think Diane, she's always like, well, these are the old lies, but I haven't told any new lies. I'm just telling the lies that I'm telling now are about the old lies, though, and that doesn't count as a new lie. Laura asks, where is the wily old smiling Jack? How did he get so soft in his old age? Victor is still as sharp and suspicious as he ever was. I hope Jack and Diane get married so that Ashley, Phyllis, and Nikki can continue to go after her. I love their odd friendship with Phyllis and Ashley hurling insults back and forth. It adds levity. Diane sure has nerves of steel to withstand them so far. She's so cunning, and according to today's episode, looks like she's fooling Jack. Yeah, where was Jack is definitely, he's been duped a lot of times, especially when it comes to love. I think on some level, Jack wants love and romance so bad that he is willing to overlook the red flags. But yeah, I enjoy, I totally would love to see Jack and Diane get married, and I do kind of enjoy the absurdity of the rivalry with Nikki and Phyllis and Ashley versus Diane. It's like all 3 of them. It's taken 3 of them to bring her down. Gary says, is she on her way out? Nikki excitedly wonders of Diane as Phyllis suddenly arrives at the ranch, beginning of today's episode. Calm down, not Grand Dame of Genoa City. Don't put your horses before the cart. Is she on her way out? Yes, Nikki took a special glee. And Phyllis took special glee in being able to deliver the information. I mean, Phyllis didn't even know anything. All she did was walk in on what she could tell was an emotional conversation between Jack and Diane, and Phyllis could not wait to run out to the ranch and tell Nikki what she didn't even know. Just, oh, something's going down. Nikki, is she on her way out? Like she's getting ready to die or something. I also love your reference here. Calm down, not Grand Dame of Genoa City. Yeah, Tucker gave her that, or he called her that, and she said, no, that's reserved for your mother. Hey, Diana says, Nikki's hair is looking so nice lately. Makes her look younger. I love the way she's been styling it, and the highlights look so pretty. I believe she added extensions, and that really suits her. I was thinking the same thing. Nikki had 2 hairstyles this week. She kind of had that half pony faux hawk when she had on kind of like a silvery blue blouse, I think it was, with a tie in the front. But then, OMG, the last time we saw her when she was in Victoria's office, she had the side bangs that were kind of feathered. She looked like, I remember Nikki looking in the 90s. I mean, just exactly the same. I was loving the hair lately. Yes, and she looks good. She looks good. She looks healthy. She looks happy. She seems, I bet Melody Thomas Scott really enjoys getting all of the witchy lines, getting to say all of the catty classic daytime things about Diane. I bet it seems like she's having fun with it. Well, Ellen says Tucker tries to act very unbothered about everything, but then he loses his temper with Diane and his cool routine falls apart. He didn't learn that much at that ashram he stayed at. Tucker wants to control everyone. We will have to see if he sticks around when he finds out that he can't. He will have to start from scratch and build relationships with the people of Genoa City. Does he care enough to do that? Or does he just want control of Chancellor Industries? That sure is the question, isn't it? And Victoria says, I can't wait to see what Tucker tells Ashley about Diane. Will he fess up or not? I don't think Ashley is the price he's really wanting. She's the distraction so that he can be in business with Devon. Oh, you don't think Ashley's the prize that he's really wanting? She's the distraction so that he can be in business with Devon. So you think Ashley's not even a legit factor. And, it's interesting. To Ellen's point, we're all kind of waiting to find out exactly what Tucker wants. He's saying a lot of things. He's presenting himself a certain way. And we don't really know. It'll be interesting to see, as Victoria mentions, what Tucker says to Ashley. I was surprised that scene got cut off. I thought the very next day we were going to, find out. Ashley's asking Tucker point blank about Diane. I was waiting to see his response, and it never came. So maybe we'll pick back up on that next week, and it'll be interesting to say what he says. Is he going to lie to Ashley? Is he going to tell her the truth? He's been backed up against the wall. Let's see what he's going to do. Sherrod says, so apparently the actor James Hyde, who's playing Jeremy Stark, actually tried out for the role of Tucker McCall. Can we see it? Oh, I had a feeling about this. I don't know why, but as soon as you said that, I was like, oh, that just makes total sense to me. Because I'm sure they did, the auditions for Tucker. And it almost does seem like, oh, they just found two really good candidates and they they gave Trevor St. John the role, but Jeremy Stark was good enough that they brought him on for something else. Can you see Jeremy Stark as Tucker? Or can you guys imagine that on the flip side? And also, I'm assuming there will be more Jeremy Stark. Am I wrong about that? I just feel like this guy, he seems like a really heavy hitter, and I'm imagining that he's going to come to Genoa City soon. We don't know how long he was sentenced to, but I could just see him come into Genoa City to stir up trouble. And now that you say he was closely considered for Tucker McCall, I could see Y&R choosing to use him in that way. Well, let's talk about Chelsea. Tina says, OMG, Melissa Claire Egan, Emmy-winning performance. We've been leading up to this point of hitting the bottom. Every rejection's ringing in her ears. It's another jolt to her delicate psyche. She is riveting. And Jamie says, I'll be the first to admit that an off-the-chain Chelsea, in a soapy, oblivious, ridiculous trope sort of way, is entertaining. To Y&R's credit, they've gone the way of gritty realism with Chelsea's descent into despair and hopelessness. This story has the potential to illustrate the reality of a deeply tragic topic, a possibility to save lives. Yeah, and again, it's because it is so relatable. It's like, oh, well, I've seen that. I've felt that. But whoa, this is what it looks like when you follow the path all the way down. Yeah, but Y&R hasn't really done a lot of stories around suicide, have they? In fact, I'm almost now sort of surprised that they didn't do a PSA at the end of the episode, have Melissa Claire Egan, give the National Suicide Helpline phone number or something, and maybe they will next week. But yeah, they really could have gone a tropish way, and they didn't. They chose to play it with realism, and so far all of the responses that I've seen about it have been positive. I mean, we all feel it. We all feel sad about it. And in that way, it is positive. And as you say, maybe it will have the potential to save lives. T. Nicole says, I don't think I could find the correct words to describe Chelsea's scenes in Friday's episode, especially the ending. I sat after the episode finished in silence, just to process. The show and Melissa Claire Egan perfectly depicted into Chelsea's mind of pure hopelessness and the pain that follows her. The visual effect of the screen losing its color to more gray. The music, the hollowness in Chelsea's, the hollowness in Chelsea's gave. I even thought the scene where Chelsea had to face her reflection in the bathroom mirror was powerful. The ending moments of the last scene, no words, just the sound of the cars below. Chelsea's hollow and painted face slowly casting downward. In an instant, we knew what she was thinking. I think the show is handling this story very well. It also shows how quick these painful feelings can intensify. Not too long ago, we had a brief thought of if Chelsea would jump from the rooftop and when she went to scream after Billy showed her the spot, but it also seemed hard to believe that she would, and weeks later, that's exactly what she's now contemplating doing. Yeah, it did. It got there slowly, it got there naturally, and yet quickly. It's got there slowly and yet quickly, and it seems like everyone's on for the ride, but yeah, the moment where she's just looking out, going to the rooftop, I mean, Billy gave her that as a way to let off some steam, and I think she went up there with that intention, and it just she's just probably thinking to myself, what am I going to do? And then suddenly Melissa Claire Egan, we saw her face change. We saw her gaze shift down, and we all knew what she was thinking. Well, let's talk about Johnny. Sherrod says Johnny continues to be unnecessarily rude to Chelsea, and someone needs to put Phyllis out to pasture. She's behaving like an old cow. An old cow. Yeah. I guess I didn't think about Johnny being rude to Chelsea. It's rude from an adult perspective, you're right. I liked, though, the conversation that Johnny had with Connor, where he said, I think your mom's following me. I mean, it shows that, like, Johnny's young enough that he's not able to think of it in an adult way. I think he's probably just scared, and that fear, the only way he has to act it out is maybe to lash out. I think all this has just been dropped on him. He's scared. I mean, deep down he's scared. He doesn't want to lose his mom and his dad, and he doesn't want to lose his life and the way things are. He was a happy kid. He's a happy kid. And now there's like this really big thing that's been dropped on him. So to me, I understand his reaction, but Diana makes this great point that I felt like Victoria should have told Johnny that he doesn't believe that she doesn't believe that Chelsea was following him. She told Chelsea that herself, so why not tell Johnny also? Why let Johnny think that Chelsea is this troublemaker who's stalking him? Victoria's not helping the matter. She should be making peace between Johnny and his biological mother, not creating a rift and resentment between them. This is because Victoria is being selfish. She wants Johnny all to herself and deep down doesn't want Chelsea to be a part of her son's life. I mean, no doubt. Victoria is probably jealous and insecure, and yes, it's selfish. She doesn't want this in her life. I find that to be very understandable, though, or at least a human reaction, though. Just like I could see Victoria just wanting to protect her son, and if that means pushing Chelsea away, and who cares? I could see it. I could see myself being selfish. It's hard to elevate. It's hard to be better than your worst instincts in order to help your child. But ultimately, you are right. Something like just saying, hey, Johnny, I don't think she meant it that way, could help him not feel afraid. She doesn't have to help build a path for Johnny and Chelsea to go to the movies or, hang out together or whatever. She doesn't have to do that. But she could at least alleviate Johnny's anxiety about Chelsea. That would be something that she could easily do that would actually help her son and would actually help make the situation better. Sharita says, I'd really like to see more of Adam and Victoria supporting each other and their children through this crisis like they did today. It's nice when they're acting like an actual family and siblings, not rivals. yeah, it was unusually cordial between Adam and Victoria this week, and yeah, it was a nice change of pace, no doubt. Hey, about Sally, Daisy says, I'm fine with Sally no longer being with Newman's, but I would not be surprised if Adam hired her at Chabot. She'd have to make an apology tour, a sincere apology tour, to ensure that there are no problems, but apologies or not, Adam's decision would still be a questionable one, particularly after what she did to Kyle and Summer. But I really think it would be better for Sally if she was hired by Devon. He can hire her as COO, and she can learn the ropes from someone who knows the business. I hope that happens, but they, Y&R powers that be, may want more drama, and I think that would be at Chabot. Yeah, I think so too. I can see Sally at Chabot. I can't see her she's going to do an apology tour, but she's definitely already apologized for all of that. But I can see it. I think for drama purposes, you're right that probably there's more drama at Chabot, and that's why we saw the scene with Phyllis, just rehashing that because it's a preview of what's coming. But I love your idea that Chancellor Winters is going to need 2 new CEOs. Two new COOs. Sorry. Everybody's a CEO or a COO. What am I thinking? And, Sally certainly has a CEO title on her resume now, so she could be someone that's a natural fit. I don't know. I think you're right. We have 3 companies that are going to need employees, and right now it's a little heavy over at the Chabot set, and there's not as many employees at Newman or Chancellor Winter, so we'll just have to see. Well, T. Nicole says the Halloween decorations and Connor's costume made me so happy. I love when the show celebrates different holidays and seasons. I hope we get to see more costumes as the week goes on. Good job, Sharon, on the decor at Crimson Lights. She is always so festive. I love Crimson Lights. I love the decorations, but we did not get any more costumes. In fact, Sherrod notes Connor was the only one wearing a costume. There were no adults wearing costumes this year, just one costume. It doesn't bother me. Halloween is kind of for kids. It's fun to see the dressing up. It is fun to see our characters dressing up. But I think the reason is, and this is just my opinion, I think Y&R is afraid to go all in on Halloween or any holiday because you never know when we're going to get preempted and then your holiday episodes air a day or a week or who knows how much longer after it's all over. All it really takes is something that's considered newsworthy, and then the soap opera fans are celebrating Halloween at Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving at Christmas, and Christmas on Valentine's Day. How about that? Christmas on Valentine's Day. Yeah. I like the holidays too. I just think that budgets are so tight and there's so many preemptions these days, and I just think that that's more where their thinking is. They don't want to invest too much in the holidays when it could spoil. It doesn't take much to spoil at all. Oh, but I was honestly just happy to have there be any implication. I don't need Halloween to be front and center. I don't really even need Thanksgiving and Christmas to be front and center, but I like it to be in the background, on the background. I think that's reasonable. I think that's a reasonable way to show the changing of the seasons. Oh, my goodness, you guys. I actually started reading this Young and the Restless book, this novelization of The Young and the Restless that I had back here that I talked about a couple weeks ago. I just read the first chapter. It's faithful. It's a novelization of the first episodes of Y&R, just a dramatic retelling, and it's exactly the same. And I think that's so interesting. And it's fun to be on this. We're on the semi when Brad is arriving in Genoa City, and it just reminded me that Genoa City used to be this Midwestern hustle, little sort of Midwestern hustle, and kind of small town though, little burg. And over the years, it's changed. Sometimes it's a burg, sometimes it's a major metropolitan city. But yeah, the being in the semi and getting off and going to Frenchie's restaurant, it feels very small town at the beginning, and it's funny to think about how much things have changed. And we also, I don't remember the initial stories as well. I did not watch Y&R when it first aired, but there is, some controversy, I think, in the original episodes. Y&R was bold. They tried to address social issues, and it's interesting to juxtapose that with this week, where Y&R is tackling the issue of suicide. So Y&R has always tried to create story from controversy, and that creates conversation, and that's why we're here. That's why I'm here. I hope you go to yrchat.com and leave some comments to keep the conversation going, and I will be back next Sunday for my part of the conversation, keeping that going. I love you guys. I hope you have a wonderful Halloween, and I will see you next Sunday. Bye.